All right, so welcome to Gentle Yoga. I am going to focus the practice today on strengthening the outside of the hips so we can loosen the inside and the front. One of the most common complaints that folks have is just tightness along the front and inner thighs. And frankly, it's because of sitting, right? Or in some cases, cycling or other athletic pursuits. So many times just taking some time on the mat to give attention to the outer hips and strengthen the glutes, gluteus medius, minimus, and maximus. Who knew there were 3 of them? And that can make really profound effects on the stability and suppleness of the hips, the health of our knees, and even the health of the low back. So that's where I'm thinking. Let's begin on our backs. It will be helpful to have a block. And you may want a second block later in the practice because we're going to do some hip stability work that will be balance-like. And you may want a blanket for knee cushion. So please begin on your back. Draw your knees into your chest. Give yourself a big hug for showing up. And then rock a little side to side. This pose is known as Apanasana, wind relieving pose. Please straighten your right leg on the yoga mat, but keep your left knee drawing into your chest. What you might feel as your right leg straightens out, you might feel that there's a little pull forward with your left leg. Try to draw your belly back in. Just keep it in, toning your core, activating your right glutes to straighten and really firm the leg into the floor. And from here, bend your right knee and let your knee open to the side. Like you're bending your knee out to the side and sliding the foot up and down the outer edge of the yoga mat or even onto the floor. It doesn't really matter what it looks like, just so you get some motion in there that will open up the inner thigh. You can use this as an assessment to see if you feel tight in your inner thigh. And you can use the first move where we straighten the leg to see if you feel tight in the front of your thigh. And do 2 more of these sliding glides out to the side, just letting your knee open out as much as it can. Coming back to center, straighten the right leg fully. And then bend your right knee. Set your left foot to the floor. Widen the space between your feet. One of my favorite moves ever is just dropping your knees side to side, windshield wiping your legs, so to speak. And then come back to center. And wiggle your feet towards one another. Find the neutral feet flat position. And then draw your knees in. Straighten your left leg out. Again, toning your core, flattening your back without straining, just a nice natural amount of effort. Activate your left leg, feel your left glutes kick in, your left quads kick in. Pull the right knee gently towards the chest. And then you can bend your left knee and draw it out to the side and back and out to the side, maybe off your yoga mat and back. Knee out to the side. Just keep sliding and gliding this leg. The leg is ending up looking like manduka legs, frog legs. And it's
very similar to the position the front leg gets into in, for example, Warrior 2. So this is a really nice warm-up for many basic yoga classes, any foundational practices. Last slide and glide. Bring the right leg back to center, draw your belly in, hug everything in, and then set your feet wide to the edges of your yoga mat. Draw your knees over to the right and over to the left. Windshield wiping your legs. The next time your legs go over to the right, you can take the bottom leg, that's going to be your right leg, hook the ankle over the knee and just over your left knee, and just pull that left knee down slightly. Try to draw your belly back towards the floor a little bit here. And then release back through center, drawing the knees over to the other side. Hook your bottom leg, now your left foot, over the outside of your right knee, and just gently pull. And release and come back to center. We'll do a few rolling bridges. This is a great opportunity to really drop into your breath, so feel free to close your eyes. Notice your inhale and your exhale. And then on one of your next exhales, flatten your back. Press through your feet, rise up to a low bridge. And then lower down vertebra by vertebra. And if you pay attention, what I'm doing here is I'm flattening the back, really using the glutes rather than just the quads to lift myself up. And I'm not going any higher than my shoulder blades. So no pressure on the neck. Lowering down vertebra by vertebra, trying to feel especially the low back on the floor. We'll do one more, this time with the toes turned up towards the sky. So dig the heels in, flip the front of the foot up towards the sky, lift up, and this time hold it. Straight line from your shoulders, your hips to your knees. Squeeze the two thighs towards one another as if you had the block between them. And then slowly lower down. Good. Draw your knees towards your elbows and soles of the feet together. Catch your ankles if that is reasonable. You can always catch behind your knees if you feel more stiff. And rock a little side to side, eventually drawing your heels closer and closer to your chest. So, interesting part of the leg. We're going to take the block now and place it a little bit in front of your hips, towards the front of your yoga mat, and set the soles of the feet together on your block. The block is in its lowest position. Knees open to the sides. Feet pressed together. Try to get the big toes to press together as well. And then push into the sides of your feet and lift your hips. This is what I call a butterfly bridge. Lower down and press up, using the side glutes, and lower down and press up. It's a little trickier with your feet on the block and the knees open wide, but try to articulate the spine in this movement just the way you did in the regular bridge as well. And we'll do two more of these. Knees wide. All right. Draw everything together towards the chest. Rock a little side to side. And please rock towards your right side. Keep your legs right where they are. I call this mermaid legs. And you're gonna just rise up to a seat. And you can reposition yourself so that you can see me. But you're gonna have right now a nice stretch on the side body, right? We're moving towards that. So please walk your hand out over to, I'm gonna switch around so that I'm mirroring you guys. Walk your hand out over to the left, and then reach up and over so you get a nice side bend here. Take both of your feet over towards the door. Yeah. And inhale back to center, and walk it out the other direction. Just get a nice side bend this way. All right, and we're gonna stay on this side now. You wanna wiggle yourself so that you have a little bit of cushion for under your knees if you'd like. That's one of the ways you can use a blanket. So the blanket is under your shins. And we're just gonna lift up into a side plank. And then come on down. And lift up. These are mermaid planks. And come on down. And lift up. And down. And lift up. And hold it this time. Straighten your top leg. Get a really nice bend, arcing your body as you lift your hips a little bit more. There's a pretty good chance that you're feeling this on the outside of the bottom leg, and that's on purpose. Lower down. Nice. Draw your knees into your chest. And sit on your blanket or your block if you prefer for just a moment. This enhances the next move, I promise you. You're gonna take some little, I dream of genie arms, and lift your right cheek, and then lift your left cheek from the floor. We're gonna go side to side. So it's a pretty subtle movement. It's like in winter when your hands are cold and you're trying to warm them up. And you're aiming to do this from like cinching your waist, as opposed to this, which would not cinch the waist. So keep your knees down as much as possible. Go side to side. Make it like as even as possible, as if you're between two heavy curtains. And you'll probably be feeling this deep in some core muscles. We'll switch the leg that's in front and do a couple more. Drawing up and up and up and up. If you're having a tricky time getting any airflow underneath, then you can reposition your legs maybe a little here, maybe a little wider. Stretching the legs out in front of you also works. There's a lot of ways to practice this. And then lower both sitting bones down. We'll bring the legs to the other side. So feet over to your right. You can stack your feet a bit one on the other. And I am mirroring you, so make sure your feet are over towards the side of the mat. We'll walk the right hand out, reach the arm up and over and get this nice side bend. Oh yeah, the side bend towards the feet. We're gonna do both, so it's okay. Couple of breaths here. And then please come back to center and walk your left hand out. Press through the left. Give yourself a side bend over on this side.
And the way to turn the volume up on this side is to root that top sitting bone down, so kind of the opposite of what we just did when we were lifting our cheeks. And inhale back to center, grab your blanket and place it under your knees, under your shins. We'll do some mermaid planks. Inhale up and down. Inhale up, hips lift nice and high, and down. Rise it on up, reach up and over, and down. And this time as you lift, stay lifted, press your pelvis forward, straighten your top leg out to the side. And reach up and over. You're really trying to lift your right side waist. You might feel this, your underside waist, which is your left. And you might feel this on that bottom leg, outer hip. 2 more breaths. Slowly lower down. Beautiful. All right. So just take a seat with your feet out in front of you. Hands to the inside of your knees, and you're going to squeeze your knees into your arms. So I've caught hold of the ankles, but you could catch anywhere in the lower leg. Squeeze the knees into the arms for a full round of breath. Take a full breath in. And a big sigh out if you'd like. And then relax. Place your hands on the outside of the knees and push the knees out into the arms. You might find it a little trickier to push one leg versus the other. And then cross at your shins. And please come onto hands and knees for table pose. So, table pose, we want the hips right over the knees and the shoulders right over the wrists. And we're gonna shift a little side to side first, warming up the wrists. The best way to protect your wrists is to stay really strong in the hands, really active in the hands, base of the first finger pressing into the floor. From center, drop through the belly, pull your heart forward, and exhale, round up to the sky. Go back and forth 2 more times. Belly down, heart forward, exhale, round it up. Good, and find neutral. So, right leg's gonna reach behind you. Try to draw up your low abdomen muscles like you're buttoning the top button on some skinny jeans. And then draw your knee in a bent direction out to the side. I call this one fire hydrant asana. Reach it back, strong and straight, and knee out to the side. If you want to get a little wild with it, you can draw your knee towards your elbow. And out and straight, out to the side. Out and straight line. And last one, knee to the side. We'll bring it back. Tuck the knee behind your other knee. This gets a little tricky, so if you want to, you can take your left foot, the one that's on the ground, bring it over to the right side, and then tuck the right knee behind the left and sit back. Let your hips go back. You don't have to go all the way, you can just go part way, and you'll probably still feel quite a bit here. Good. Please come back to center. We'll take fire hydrant asana on the other side. So neutral spine, left leg reaches out behind you. Imaginary skinny jeans. And then fire hydrant asana, knee to the side. And back. Knee to the side, use your breath. And back. Knee to the side. And back. Knee to the side.
and tuck your left knee behind your right knee and slowly sit back. You don't have to go all the way. So if you go all the way, it looks like this, Gomukasana legs. But I find sometimes that there's an in-between, like a hovering spot, that feels really, really good. So I often will stick there. Okay. Inhale to neutral. Turn your fingers straight out to the sides and shift a little side to side. And then spin the fingers back towards your knees. This may not work for everybody, but you can always just turn a little bit in that direction. And if you get your fingers all the way back towards your knees, that's great too. Lean a little right and a little left. Perfect. And then fingers back to point forward. Grab hold of your blocks, put them in the middle position at the front of the mat. Heels of the hands on the blocks. Curl your toes under. Rise up and back to downward facing dog. Do make your elbows straight, the hips high, inner thighs back. You'll probably want your blanket for a little knee cushion just in case. We're gonna bring the feet to touch, big toes to touch one to the other. And then reach your right leg to the sky. Draw your knee into your nose, set your foot up between your hands. Lower your back knee. And then drop through the pelvis. Inhale, rise up. Press your palms together over your heart. Hook your elbow to the outside of your front knee. So left elbow to the outside of the right knee. If the elbow doesn't make it, you can come onto the forearm too. What we're going to do here in this position is either press your knee into your elbow, or if you have your forearm there, press your knee into your hand so that you're waking up the muscles on the outside of the leg. Yeah. Good, you guys. Walk your hands back to the blocks and then straighten your front leg out. Curl your toes back towards your eyes. Doesn't matter if your knee goes fully straight, but do get a little bit of a hamstring stretch here. I want you to feel it behind the knee or in the muscle belly, back of the thigh. You can turn your toes a little in and out. Bend in again, and then set your foot. This one gets a little tricky, so I'm going to face towards you guys. You start off with your right foot a little closer to the right side of the mat, left foot a little closer to the left, but you're going to try to cross through center so that you end up doing a bit of a balance challenge here. And what this will do is it will recruit lots of muscles that you didn't know you had. And then we're going to drop down into the lunge, hands free from here. Don't look at me, I'll be shaking. So chest is up, arms reach, full breath in. And then please take your hands down to your blocks. Curl your back toes under, lift up. Left foot is going to step over to the right side of the yoga mat. That's the one in back. And then the right leg, the one in front, is going to step back and your legs are going to be crossed. So shift a little side to side here, getting into a new set of muscles, motions at the hips. Uncross your legs, bringing your toes to touch, your big toes to touch. And please rise your left leg to the sky, three-legged dog. Knee to nose, set your foot between your hands. Lower your back knee to the floor. And then rise up into crescent lunge, knee down crescent lunge, Anjaneyasana. Place your palms together over your heart and choose your own adventure. You can take your hands to the outside of the front knee, your right elbow to the outside of the left knee. And
into your hands. You feel the outside of your hip waking up. This is a good practice to take on for any of the twists in general, but here within back knee down, you can kind of focus on it and really build the endurance through the isometric. Put your hands back down to the blocks and straighten out through your front leg. Enjoy a little hamstring openness. Curl your toes back towards your eyes, hips back, chest forward. And then please bend into your front knee. Again, we're going to be crossing the legs so that your front foot, your left one, all the way towards the right side of your mat, your right knee as far to the left as reasonable. Coming up, balancing on this zigzag balance beam. And then maybe pressing your pelvis forward, rising the arms. All of the ankle wiggles, all of the hip wiggles. Good challenge. Exhale, hands back to the blocks. Root the heels of the hands on the back of the blocks. Curl your pinky and thumb under, lift your back knee, and step your front thigh over your back thigh. So your front foot steps to the back of your yoga mat for downward facing dog with your left thigh over thigh. It's tempting to cross at the ankles, but try to widen the space between your feet so that you end up thigh over thigh. Exactly as they are, but shift forward. Squeeze the thighs together. Reach to the heart. And up and back. And switch the cross of the legs. Thigh over thigh. Squeeze the legs together. And switch forward. Press through the crown. Lower your knees down next to one another. They don't have to be stacked on one another now. Onto your blanket. And then we're going to use one block and shift over to the right. You can shift in any way you want to so that you can see me. So you'll be on your left hand. You'll have your feet to the left. And you'll be in this knee down side plank. So reach the right arm up, and then dive it down along with your hips. And reach the hips up, and the right arm up, and dive it down. And hips up, and dive it down. And hips up, keep it up. Lift your top leg. Reach the leg a little bit in front of you. Dial your toes down towards the floor. I know this one's getting complicated. Hold it for 3, 2, 1, and then settle down. So as we go to the other side, let me just review quickly what we just did. So you're going to start off in what I call a knee down side plank. So a full on side plank, the feet would be out here, maybe the hand would be on the ground. So this one, it should be pretty accessible. But then we're going to turn the volume up by dipping, by making that C shape, right? And you're trying not to sit back to your heels, and you don't, so the effort will be what I call kind of like an Elvis pelvis. You're trying to push the pelvis forward and up. We'll do that a few times, and then we'll do this. And then we're getting into this outer hip muscle as well as the standing hip muscle with that one. So let's go for it on the other side. I believe most of you will have your right hand now on the block. Position your block so that it won't slide. If you want to turn on an angle on your yoga mat like I am, you can. And be on the outside of the right knee. Lift your left arm to the sky and dip it down and reach and up. We'll do this one 4 more times. Dip it down and up and dip. And up. And last one. Dip it down with the hips. There you go. And up. Stay up this time, really lifting the hips nice and high. Reach your top leg up. Take it out in front of you and dial the toes downward. You might end up in a position where you've never felt that muscle before. And then please come back and set it down. And something a little bit less complicated, we'll just put the block right behind us and sit on the block in a deep squat. And please bring your elbows to the insides of your thighs and press in a little bit. Squeeze the knees in towards one another. Lift your chest. And relax. Press the hands to the outside, knees push out. And then relax. One more time, elbows to the inside. Squeeze it in. Your gaze be steady at the floor. Return your awareness to your breath. And hands to the outside. Press. Relax. So we'll position ourselves so that the blanket is on the floor and can slide. And take the left leg on the blanket. You can just shift over towards the left side of your yoga mat. The left heel on the blanket, exactly. Or to the front of your yoga mat. And open and close. Open and close. Open and close. And then see again if you can do this with the I Dream of Genie arms. Turn your toes out, and then turn your toes in and keep them in, and then turn your toes out and keep them out, both on the way out, and in, and relax. Awesome, let's wiggle to the other side. So right leg, right ankle on the blanket, a little bit of sliding. If you were at home and you didn't have a blanket, you could always do this in space, or if you had carpet. So heel on the block, just open and close. And then again, to make it a little more challenging, make sure that your core is kicking in to help stabilize your low back. I Dream of Genie arms. Feeling it? Turn your toes outward and try to keep them out all the way out and all the way in, and then turn your toes inward and try to keep them in all the way out and all the way in. And one more time each. Toes out and in, toes in, out and in. And bring the soles of your feet together. Scoop your hands under your knees and try to close the bulk of your legs, but basically arm wrestle yourself with your legs. You're pushing your knees down, your arms are pressing in, lift your chest. As you exhale, fold forward if you wish, you can use your block here to rest your elbows, rest your forehead, or some of you will find it reasonable to bring your forehead all the way to your toes. We'll bring awareness to breath and be here for about 4 full breaths. As you inhale, next, please rise up. Draw your knees in. Wiggle your hips to the middle of your mat on a long angle again, and lower yourself down to your back. Draw your knees into your chest. Please straighten out through your right leg. Gentle tone in your belly, and open your right knee to the side and down. And right knee slides out to the side and down. Just being aware if there's any difference from the beginning to the end of our practice today. We'll draw the right knee back in. Left leg reaches, take it to the side, and down, to the side, down, moving back and forth. Last one. Both knees to your chest. Allow your knees to drop over to the right for a very simple, beautiful spinal twist, looking to the left. And then please bring your chin to center, knees to center, drop your knees over to the other side. Simple spinal twist, looking to the right. Inhale, chin to center, knees to center. If you'd like one last inner thigh release, you can do that within the context of Savasana. You can open your blanket. These are all optional. We're going into Baddha Konasana, but you can open your blanket, roll it up into a nice long roll, hook it around the front of your ankles or your feet, and usually there's enough blanket to support your knees. If not, your block can serve as a nice little wedge to support your legs. And if that feels too complicated for you, you can also just stretch your legs out optionally over the blanket or flat to the floor. So we have a few breaths in Savasana, a few moments to be here now. No instructions, nothing to do. Simply become aware of your breath, your inhale, your exhale. just bring it back to this moment. Watching your breath invite spaciousness, invite the breath to deepen. Start to wiggle your fingers, start to wiggle your toes. Maybe stretch long through your limbs, yawning out the body. As you're ready, draw your knees one and then the other to your chest. Roll to your right side. Slowly press up. Eyelids heavy, eyelids closed to seated. Thank yourself for showing up, for staying present, for trying out some new and quirky moves. Let's extend a vow of gratitude for the health that allows us to be here in this moment. Let us promise to always meet ourselves with the deepest of compassion as a practice so that we can meet others with the same. Take a full breath in, big sigh out.